stop until we get it. Come on down if you wet it. Wake up, let's go, we're on a mission. Recognize we've got that power. And we make sure that you know it. Got that pride, go ahead and show it. Stand up, fight back, no time for hoping. Recognize we got that power. Don't stop until we get it. Come on down if you wet it. Wake up, let's go, we're on a mission. Recognize we've got that power. And we make sure that you know it. Got that pride, go ahead and show it. Stand up, fight back, no time for hoping. Recognize we got that power.
Good morning, good morning. You are now tuned into the Elife Powe Show with Dr. Baruch and Chris Murray. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chris. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I am fascinated by this story that I'm going to share. That's what I was looking at as we were coming in.
What story is that?
This is a story of Karis Rodgers, who's a 10-year-old who unfortunately was bullied. And we hear so many stories nowadays about children, for various reasons being bullied. But what she did, which is remarkable, she turned this bullying into a business. She started a fashion line with the hashtag flexing in my complexion because she's a really beautiful brown-skinned girl. She was being teased because of her dark complexion. And so she took that and used that as an empowering thing for other kids and people really in general. And I was looking at it because I've seen many stories like this in cases where children may have been teased about their weight or other things, and they take that and they use it to their advantage and just, number one, helping other people and saying, look, this is unacceptable. This is not something that should be going on, and I'm going to rise above it. And so, I don't know, I'm just encouraged by that. You guys know I love the babies, and I just love seeing kids in business and things. And so I wanted to bring that to the table this morning.
Well, I think that's appropriate as we're watching this world evolve and we're seeing bullying becoming more of an unacceptable thing, in the sense that, when we think about even the founding of this country and how there was somebody who came over here and literally bullied a country and took over the country, and now celebrates this day by calling it by the name of the person who was the initiator of the bullying, or at least the one who acted on the command and came over here and did what they did. But I think it's really also something that we need to be paying a specific attention to, and that is this melanin envy. There's a reality that people, when they don't have something, you've heard the expression penis envy, right?
I haven't, but now
for
now
children.
Okay.
This is for children.
Okay.
These are little babies. They have this concept, because the little girl wants to know why she doesn't have what her brother has.
Gotcha.
And so this penis envy develops in the young girls. And so we see that same thing play out, maybe not the identical, but we see something play out very similar, where people are envious, jealous, and therefore they try to make it a negative until they can accomplish it.
Right.
So we're actually in a studio where three white people who have decided that we wanted to stop acting white and looking white. We just decided to be black. We're fed up with envying people of color. We decided to become one.
Right. I love it.
But it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Bullying is definitely I remember it when I was a child. Bullying. You're in business. I'm a business owner, so bullying is like a part of business.
Yeah, it is.
You try to edge out the other guy.
Right.
You market to your strengths and their weaknesses, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And like I said, the thing that I love about it is that she turned it into a business, and that's one of my favorite things. And just teaching kids. So I do want to introduce our guest for today, because my next question is going to kind of lead into your industry. We'd like to welcome Miss Alexandra Morton to the show. She's an agent with New York Life. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So here's my big question. How early is too early to start kind of training up your kids in the financial topics, as far as, money and savings and, just things in finance in general, because my kids are young and I already started, they're little entrepreneurs. So how young is too young? Should I be teaching my 6-month-old, what stocks and bonds are? What is your take on it?
I don't think there's ever a time that's too young to start having the conversation. I think taking the time to encourage your kids to learn basic math skills is a prerequisite. And then on top of that, having financial conversations. A lot of times in the African American community, I found that having conversations about money can be contentious, it can be uncomfortable, but having the type of free-flowing conversation, the same thing you would talk to your kids about maybe their best friends or a pet or something like that, make it very basic, make it very elementary, and start early as soon as you can.
That's great. And I think it's definitely a taboo subject in certain circles, because when you think about people who have money, it was, what you doing wrong. You must be doing wrong. And there was an association with money and wealth and wickedness. And, we have to then look into our belief systems and who implanted us with that. Wow. Meanwhile, they balling and they telling us that, what, if you have money, give it to me.
Right.
Give it to me, because your money in your hands is a wicked thing, but your money in my hands is only you opening up the door to greater opportunity. Yeah, we have a clever way of expressing things that I think always works to someone else, always works to the teacher or the institution's advantage.
Right.
Interesting.
Exactly. And I think another reason to start out earlier, at least in my opinion, is because the system is set up with so many traps. Similar to what you were saying, it's like, the whole credit system, we'll loan you this amount, but we're going to put this much interest on it. So in the end, you end up spending way more than you intended. And so if we prepare our children to kind of avoid those pitfalls early on, by the time they become adults, then it seems like they would be in a much greater position than those of us who may not have had that type of, those type of conversations when we were at, a younger age.
I totally agree.
I think it also has a lot to do with the environment that you grow up in.
Right.
When I visit other countries where they have no money, and I mean, when I say no money, I mean no money. Like, you go visit people and it's like, we don't buy anything because we don't have anything to pay for anything. We grow our food, we wash our clothes by the lake, we do whatever. And I'm like, wow, But the interesting thing about the communities that I've seen that way is they're a lot happier than me, and they're a lot happier than we as a country. And you look up and you realize that it's as a result of us being conditioned in this capitalist society and raised and now a functioning part of this capitalist society that we feel obligated, and it's a necessity in order to survive. You got to have some resources. So, you do that. But in those countries, as a matter of fact, there's a country that I've gone to, several, where when you walk through their door, they're obligated to provide you with food. And, in the world that we live in, we create restaurants and we obligate you to pay for your food.
Right.
Different world. But, I think it's teaching a child, depending on the environment, teaching the child what's going to work in their future to their advantage for the perpetuation of their kind is a good conversation. Yeah. So tell us more about your experience and the work that you do, Alexandra.
Well, I am an agent with New York Life. Part of the reason why I got into financial services is my mom had passed away my sophomore year of college. She had sickle cell disease. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of sickle cell, but it's one of the largest genetic blood disorders that affects people who are predominantly from countries that surround the equator, so African American, Middle Eastern, Caribbean, African people from African countries. It affects them disproportionately, and really what the disease is a genetic mutation to fight against malaria. But what it does, it protects against malaria, but if you do have the disease, unfortunately, it causes very painful sickle crisis. So my mom had, well, just to backtrack, my mom had passed away. And because my mom had sickle cell disease, we always had open conversations of, if I'm not here, what's going to happen? This is what you need to do. And growing up, I used to feel that it was so burdensome to have those type of conversations. I'm
Right.
like, Mom, this is so morbid. Like, what are you talking about? I want you to be here forever. Why are you saying these things?
Right.
And looking back now, I really appreciate how candid she was with me, because when she did pass away, I was already ingrained with what she wanted me to do. Right. That she wanted me to finish school. She had already told me the different things that she wanted as her final wishes. And even though it may sound morbid and it was stressful, I'm just really grateful, and I think that it's really great that we're having this show during Mother's Day weekend, because it really kind of gives me the opportunity to just say thank you to her for the things that she taught me, for the lessons, and for giving me a story and an opportunity. This is actually the first time I'm sharing my personal story, and I had talked to a colleague of mine, and he said sometimes your purpose is birthed through your pain. And when my mom had passed away, it was one of the most catastrophic and tragic times that I've experienced as a young woman. But I think that it has molded me and has pushed me in the direction to put me into my purpose. And I really feel like being able to empower African American women and just the overall African American community as a whole in the realm of finance and financial literacy is very purposeful for me.
When you say financial literacy, you know, I know how to count. I know what's a dollar bill and a quarter and a dime, and you know, I know how they work together to pay my bills. What do you mean when you say financial literacy?
What I mean when I say financial literacy is understanding how the economic system in this country works. Because we all know that it's a fact we live in a capitalist society, not just on a national level, but we live in the time of global capitalism and globalism. And in order for you to get ahead, and like you said before, in order to get ahead, you have to have access to resources. And in our community, in the African American community, what I have found is that we are undereducated in the realm of financial literacy. We are undereducated in the realm of understanding what resources are available at our disposal to help us build generational wealth and help us build legacy within our communities to break the cycle of poverty. Because if you look back, you were talking about the history of our country, how we were bullied by conquistadors, but if you look back to the history of African Americans in this country, we did not come here willingly. We came here as slaves, and we have been fighting to break out of an economic cycle of poverty since then. We are deprived from knowledge. We weren't allowed to learn how to read and write, and by being deprived of those things, it has transcended generations where people are impoverished just because they don't have the knowledge. They don't understand how economic system works, how our stock market works, how to use tools like insurance, how to understand how credit bureaus and credit systems work. We need that valuable information, and we can't afford to be afraid, and we cannot afford to be ignorant to those tools.
Right. When you think about the resources that are at our disposal, I remember having a guy on my show maybe a couple of years ago, and he talked about we don't understand all of the wealth that is around us. He said we don't understand social capital. He said, just knowing that knowing that I know you, I know that I have a place that I can come to. I can set up my computer, work on the Wi-Fi, and if you got a couple crumbs that fall off the edge of the table, you're going to offer them to me. And that's capital, he said. He said, and we don't understand capital, I can't remember specifically how he defined. I want to say it's geographical capital, where he talked about, just knowing where I can go and get cool when it's hot, or stay warm when it's cold, and there's so many different levels of capital. The library is a major resource of capital, in the sense that there's knowledge, great wealth of knowledge that is there, and history that is there. So all of this capital that we have access to, that we don't really give any value to, we would much rather have the brand new pair of tennis shoes, or the next nails, or whatever it is that we're doing. We have to now start thinking about a lot of the resources that we already have. We already have sunlight, so we can work with that sunlight to benefit us, and the sun does so much to benefit us. It's like we think about it as just light and heat. But, as a naturopath and as one who studies the science of wellness and the biochemistry balance that must be maintained, I know that the sun provides more than just light and heat. It actually provides information that, comes and transdermally, gets into the body, and so on and so forth. But when we understand all of the resources that we have out here, we begin to, realize how wealthy we are already, but also how we can then use that wealth, or at least stand on that wealth, in order to achieve and acquire the wealth that is, maybe what we use when we go to the grocery store. And, but I do feel the absence of this understanding and knowledge that many other communities probably teach, and they teach at an earlier age, because it's like you were talking about, we were actually shunned from reading and prevented, scorned, killed for reading. And now, of course, we know that in order for us to kind of understand what's going on and to get ahead, we got to read. Except now we're learning now, I having a conversation the other day with a school teacher. They said they're not even teaching children cursive writing anymore.
Right.
And the things that I thought were just like, you got to know that. No, you're not in this world. So it's interesting how, again, the educational institutions are playing a role in dumbing us down, and preventing us from being able to necessarily eclipse the space that supposedly, or maybe in a conspiratory kind of way, we think has been set up for us, and we can't get out of it. It's interesting.
Right.
Chris, what say you?
Yeah, it's definitely, that last comment you made just made me kind of think about it. It's like, we're at their disposal. If this group of people, the Board of Education or whoever it may be, decide that something is good for us or something else is not, that's pretty much what's going on through our school system. That's what's going into the minds and to the habits of our next generations. So right. It's just, it's important for us to stay abreast of the newest and latest information, because if not, we're going to continue to be lost. We're not going to break the cycle. And I think, like you're saying, just having shows like this and just other resources like this, where we're taking it into our own hands and we can kind of put our own spin, because some people are in a position where you have to send your kids to school because you don't have any other means. That's fine, but at least supplement it with, information that you have, so they don't miss out, because it's just, it's so important. So what are some of the other services that you guys offer?
Well, New York Life has launched a campaign called the 50B Empowerment Plan. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to build $50 billion worth of wealth and legacy building for the African-American community through life insurance. So we are urging African-American families to get a life insurance policy with a face amount of at least $250,000 to supplement the income for their families and children in case they're not here, in case something happens to them. And a lot of times I've spoken to a lot of people, oh my gosh, oh, I love my people, but I'm telling you, sometimes you guys frustrate me so much. I had spoke with a client. He's middle aged. He has 2 children, and he's underinsured. he makes almost 3 figures, but he has about $50,000 worth
Six
of
figures?
six figures. And he has maybe about 50 grand worth of life insurance, and I'm just like, but your kids aren't even in college yet. Right. And I think that we have an educational gap of what life insurance is supposed to be used for. Life insurance is supposed to supplement the income of an individual in the event that they are not alive, if they're not existing on this earth, to help support your family. So a face amount of $250,000, if you think about it, it's really not that much. You know, if someone is making $50,000 a year, $100,000, that's only 2 years worth of salary that you're getting to cover your kids. And I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. My mom passed away almost 10 years ago. And it took me almost 5.5 years to transition financially because I was a young adult. I was in school. I'm paying tuition. My mom had a house. We had a mortgage. So it's more than just replacing the salary. It's also protecting your assets. And just to be completely candid with you, my mom had a difficult time even trying to get life insurance coverage because she had a pre-existing condition. Right. So whatever coverage she did have, she was only able to get through a job. So thank God she was able to get a personal New York Life policy, right, when she was working and she was younger, that she was able to keep. So I'm really thankful that she was able to get those type of tools and set those in place. Otherwise, I would have been destitute. I would have lost the house. I wouldn't have been able to pay for school. Right. There were so many other things that I just would not be able to do if she did not have life insurance. Right, and when you explain it like that, it just makes it, so much more real, because when we hear life insurance, it's like you said, it's morbid. We don't want to hear about that. Okay, we'll talk about it later, Mom. You're only 40-something. You never know what's going to happen. So I'm glad that you explained it in that way, because it makes it more, tangible, I guess, emotionally, so that we can see that it's something that is definitely important. Let's backtrack a little bit. For those who aren't familiar with the company, can you tell us a little bit more about New York Life? Yeah, sure. So New York Life, we are the oldest life insurance company. We've been in existence for almost 200 years, and we have consistently paid something called a dividend to our policy holders. Okay. If you do hold a policy with us, you are part owner of the company. So that's why you're able to receive a dividend. So we're considered something called a mutual company. Okay. We have the highest rating in terms of financial companies and insurance. We're AAA rated. Okay. And we do more than just sell life insurance. We have a focus on life insurance because we believe that life insurance is the foundation of any family's financial plan, but we also do financial advising and things of that nature as well. Okay, perfect. And then, so what, in terms of financial advising and the life insurance, what's kind of the process? Do I go onto the website? Do I reach out to an agent? How does it work if I want to get started? So if you want to get started, you can definitely go to the website. You can go to newyorklife.com. Or if you really like me, you can contact me directly. I would be more than happy to be your personal agent. And you can send me an email at M as in Mary, ORTON, at F as in fat, T as in Taylor, .newyorklife.com, or you can give me a call at 202-674-9155 to get you started.
When you think about life insurance, okay, so there's a conversation about life insurance not being such a positive entity. That why send however much money to a life insurance company when you could put that money into real estate, and you could actually build some real wealth for your family. Tell me what the difference is, and why one is either better than the other, or what. Okay, well, I'll just say that insurance is a tool. There are two different types. There's something that's called term insurance, which is kind of, if you use an analogy in the realm of real estate, it's like renting versus buying. So if you have term insurance, it's similar to a lease. So you pay premiums for a certain period of time and you're guaranteed coverage.
Normally, the premium amounts are significantly lower than if you were to get something called whole life, where you can own the policy outright for your entire life. Term insurance doesn't build any cash value in the realm of real estate. That's something that's considered equity. If you do want to have access to cash, or you would like to start a business or something like that, if you're younger, I would totally recommend getting something called a whole life policy, where you can have access to the cash value, the money that you're putting in terms of your premiums, and something that is called a dividend that New York Life pays, that creates a compound interest effect, so that you are able to build more money in your policy over the course of your lifespan. So there are different things that you can do with life insurance. It doesn't necessarily have to be a specific death benefit, but you can use it. There are lots of different companies who have used life insurance to help pay for their business. So JCPenney, everybody has heard of JCPenney. Their founder used their cash value life insurance to supplement their employee salaries when they were going under. McDonald's has used cash value life insurance to help put money into the business. Same thing with Walt Disney. In order to build Disney World as you know it, used cash value life insurance to build his business and expand it. So there are lots of different ways that you can use life insurance as a financial tool. I recommend having life insurance and investing in real estate so that you can build wealth for yourself and use different type of tools so you can have a diverse box to build your legacy.
Who wouldn't be a good candidate for life insurance?
Well, I wouldn't say anyone is so much not a good candidate for life insurance. It's just the way that you go about getting it has to be different. So if you have a pre-existing condition, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get an individual life insurance policy. But if you do need coverage and your job does not offer coverage to you, you can get something called an employee benefit. So if your job doesn't offer life insurance, you can give me a call. We have different type of policies that we can sell your business as a whole, and you can have a guaranteed issue life insurance policy that you can roll over, you can keep and turn into a personal policy, similarly to what my mom did when she was younger.
Okay. And at the end of someone's life, you know, it's like, let me use an automobile example. My insurance company, my auto insurance company, never has any problem taking my checks. Never. They never call me and say, you know, your signature looks a little different. They never give me any challenges. They take that money and they put it in the bank right away. However, when a claim is made, all of a sudden now I got to go up under my fingernails, and I got to, you know, everything has to be checked and triple checked and quadruple checked, and you have to make sure that you really are telling us the truth and everything is lining up like it's supposed to, and then after all of that is said and done, they still might not pay the claim.
Okay.
You know, is it that way with life insurance? I mean, is it just a matter of showing a death certificate and then, you know, bam, a check comes in the mail? You know, how does that work?
Well, it really depends on the type of plan you have. So if you have a guaranteed issue, similarly to what my mom had, guaranteed issue means that you're guaranteed life insurance coverage regardless if you have a pre-existing condition or not, because it's done in the form of a group through an employer. If you have that, because it's guaranteed, all you have to do is submit the paperwork and the death certificate, and you can receive whatever benefit is available to you. When my mom passed away, thank God, New York Life cut me my check. I received it in 4 days. If you have a personal policy and you're going through personal underwriting is the process that an examiner will decide what your risk is individually, then that can play into how the benefit is distributed if you're lying on your application. So if you're putting your information in and you're being completely honest and disclosing your information, and something, God forbid, happens to you, you're getting paid out. 9 times out of 10, most benefits are paid out without any headaches, without any hang-ups, because New York Life does a very thorough underwriting process before it issues policies.
What does New York Life do with our money? And let's not focus in on New York. What does the insurance industry do with our money before we die?
Okay, so I'm going to try to not to get super complicated. But when you're purchasing life insurance, you're purchasing something called mortality credits. And life insurance, the premium that you pay, is based off of the life insurance determination of your personal mortality. So when you purchase a policy, the money that you're putting into is going toward the future benefit, the future death benefit. And if you do have a whole life policy, a cash value life insurance policy, New York Life is using the excess money that they use, not just from life insurance, but from other financial tools, to give something that we call a dividend. That dividend, in turn, goes either towards the accumulation of your cash value in your whole life cash value life insurance, or it can go to offset your premiums, the monthly payment that you're paying every month for the coverage. What my mom had with her policy, because she wasn't sure if she was always going to have a job or not, was she used the dividend to offset her premium payment. So in 15 years, she had a fully paid up life insurance policy that she didn't have to put any more premiums on, because she had used the dividend to pay off the premiums.
Okay, so the benefit, she used a portion of it to cover the balance of what she was going to pay the insurance company. Now, my question, you answered my question, but I was looking for a different answer, in the sense that when I send that check, they're not paying out. I don't expect they're going to be sending any money back to me for another, 100 years. So what are they doing with our money?
It gets pooled, so the money goes to the company, but then you're also getting a portion back in the form of a dividend.
Okay, do they use it to their benefit?
They use it to fund the company, because it is a business. So it's used to funnel the company. It's not like a pyramid scheme where they're taking your premiums to pay somebody else's death benefit. No, that's not what's going on.
Okay. And I guess there's somebody that's doing the statistics. How often do people pay more than they get when they die? Or how does that, what is that relationship? What's the ratio?
The only time I've really seen that instance happen is if someone purchases a term policy, let's say for 30 years, 40 years, and I'm going to disclose that New York Life does not issue term policies for over 15 to 20 years. So if someone's paying a term policy for that long period of time, at the end of that 30 years, you're not going to have any insurance coverage. You're going to have to go through another application process. So if someone has a policy for that long and they don't pass away during that time and the benefit isn't used, then they'll be out of money. But one of the practices that New York Life likes to do is encourage people, if you can't afford a whole life policy, get a term policy and convert later on, so that you can have access to the cash value in your policy. We don't want you to just pay us money and you don't get anything out of it. If you cannot afford a whole life policy initially, sign up for a term, and then your agent can help you convert later on.
Historically, when did insurance companies, come on the scene? And maybe not only when did they come on the scene, but when did this really become really popular?
Well, life insurance companies have been in existence for a while. New York Life has been in existence since the 1700s, 1800s. And, we were giving out death claims during the Civil War. So, it's been around for a long, long time. One of the things that I've just seen is that within our specific community, we are not getting insured. We represent 13% of the national population, and New York Life is paying out maybe 1.5% to 2% of all death claims to African American families. That's disproportionate.
Mm-hmm.
So our community is underinsured, and my job as an agent is to really help our people use this tool to help build generational wealth.
We were talking earlier about wealth and evil. At what point does insurance fall into that, in the mindset of many of us who are over religious, maybe, that, well, that's just wicked, that I'm paying somebody, that I'm betting somebody that I'm going to die before they think I'm going to die. So, tell me, is that one of the hurdles, or is it just total disregard and indifference towards this whole thing? Why are people doing that? It doesn't make sense. I could use this money for a new pair of shoes.
I've actually encountered that.
Uh-oh.
So,
let's hear.
I had a friend who they actually do have a daughter, and the quote for her she's very healthy. The quote that I have for her was under $20 a month for $150,000 worth of coverage. And she said she didn't want to sign up. She'd rather have Netflix. Nothing's going to happen. She'd rather have Netflix. So I think people understanding the urgency that you're not just, it's not, I think sometimes what I'm dealing with is people think that life insurance is a scam. And it has been stigmatized within our community because, like I said before, the African American community sometimes has been vulnerable in the realm of economics, and there have been some shady companies that have come into our communities to simply sell something that's called a burial policy. A lot of people I've encountered have said, "Oh, I don't need large face amount. I don't need a 6-figure face amount. I'll just get a burial policy. What does it matter what my kids do with me? I'm not going to be here." That's one of the biggest things that I've gotten. And I really have to take the time and share my story and say, if my mom didn't have additional life insurance, I'll be candid and honest and transparent. My mom had a $25,000 New York life insurance policy that went for her burial expenses, and then she had another $350,000 term life insurance policy that she got through her job. Now, the going rate for a funeral in the U.S., without all the bells and whistles, is about $20,000. Now, after you're sick and you're in the hospital, the clock starts ticking, okay? You're forced to make a lot of drastic decisions while you're grieving and you're under pressure. Every day that a body sits in a morgue, you're paying $500 to $1,000 a day while you're trying to make decisions. So someone telling me, oh, it doesn't matter, they can do whatever they want, that's going to breed an element of confusion and more stress while someone is trying to make decisions under pressure. So why not have that organized? Why not have the money in place so that they don't have to think about those type of things? That's just doing your due diligence as a parent, as someone who cares for your family. You're just taking care of your family. That's all it is. Just like you buy food for your kids at the grocery store, that's what you're doing. You're buying extra food and additional salary for your kids so that they can take care of themselves, so they can pay for school, they can achieve the goals and objectives and move forward and build legacy. That's all life insurance does.
Okay. Well, that's really good information, and it's good to hear it from somebody who, represents us rather than is coming to sell us on something and benefit, only on what it is that they share with us. So it's good information. And again, how would we get in contact with you?
You can give me a call at 202-674-9155, or you can send me an email at amorton@f as in fat, t as in tail, .newyorklife.com.
Now, do you guys do any workshops or seminars or have any other means of sharing this information?
Definitely. We have financial blueprint for success seminars that we host. We have retirement planning seminars that we host, college funding. We do have estate planners and attorneys who are affiliated with New York Life that you would have at your disposal if you need help with complex estate planning. We have a variety of resources available that we want to share with the community.
And I like what you said about using it as a tool. Do you guys adamantly kind of share that with your clients as agents to say, look, you want to invest in your business. This is exactly how you can use your life insurance policy to do that?
Definitely. One of the scenarios that I recently presented to one of my colleagues was she just started saving. She just started saving for retirement, and she didn't have life insurance. She doesn't have kids, but she did want to have something because she's the main breadwinner for her family. She helps support her mom, things of that nature. So we were able to put together something called a custom whole life policy, where she pays in premium for a certain period of time. In this example, it was 20 years. And then she's able to withdraw the cash value that she's putting in there for an additional 20 years. And that distribution is tax-free.
Gotcha. Wow.
So it acts similarly to a pension. So there's lots of different things that you can do with insurance. It's just that we don't really have that information in the Black community.
Right.
A lot of our other racial counterparts are doing this, and they do it every single day.
Right.
We're behind the 8 ball.
Wow.
Now, I realize that this may not benefit New York Life at all, but are there any African American owned life insurance companies?
There certainly are. And what a lot of life insurance companies do is they franchise out. So there are lots of agents who are out there who are African American that are licensed to sell our New York Life products. So a lot of agents that I have encountered, they have started their own brokerages or started their own financial firms, and they do add New York Life to their product lines.
Okay. Great. Well, it's always good to learn, and it's always good to be exposed to information that would help us on this road to making better quality life for ourselves and our future. So the information that you share with us today will be beneficial, and prayerfully there will be those of us out there in that listening audience and viewing audience that will want to contact you and find out how they can take advantage of the services and the products and tools that you have to offer them. Because truly, if we do nothing, we'll have nothing that will benefit us. At least we need to be doing something. And maybe the days of putting money in a shoebox under the bed is maybe not the best insurance policy. But we need the education. We need to understand how it can be used. We need to know that we're working with a company that has the kind of credibility in our community, because credibility across the board may not be credibility in our community. So it's good to hear that New York Life is doing something specifically to benefit our community, and hopefully somebody's done the due diligence and determined that the benefit is truly in our community and it isn't a way to get more money out of our community. So, but again, I'm thankful, Alexandra, that you would be able to come on and share with us what it is that you represent and what you think we need to all engage. And prayerfully, this will be something that will benefit a lot of people. Chris?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to hearing more about what you're doing in the community. So keep us updated. We like to hear good stories about the community and the progress that we're making. We have some good things coming up. I know if you guys were here this past weekend, it was phenomenal. Professor Griff was here, and he shared with us so much information based out of his new book, Symbology, Volume 2. He was here for 2 days, on Saturday for the Solstice Bazaar. He joined us, and then on Sunday for the brunch with Griff, which was awesome. I was here for a little bit, and it was just good, intimate crowd. They got a chance to offer their services, not their services, to offer their questions and get those answered, and just kind of go into some detail that wouldn't necessarily be possible with a larger audience. So that was great. Just stay with us for
I didn't think the camera was on me when I did this. Because I wanted to say about Griff that Griff has definitely been an inspiration to me. He actually called while we were on the show today, but he's been an inspiration to me as somebody who has continued to teach and to uplift us, and and put his community first. So there's a need for, and indeed, life insurance, but there's also a need for us to have those kind of pillars in our community to make us value life enough to even want to, put an insurance policy on ourselves. Because I think that may be, when we think about what we were talking about earlier, the insurance company, that, if you don't value your life enough, and many of us, I think, value our death more than we value our lives. We value this life after death more so than we value this life. And I think that's kind of weird. But anyway, that's where we are. And it'll make you say, well, you know what? I don't need to worry about anything here. I'll just worry about, I know everything's going to be taken care of after here. Right. So I'm good, So if I die today, I'm good. There's another group of people out here that are, putting, $1 million policies on everybody in their family because they realize that, no, we're not going to bank on what happens after here. We're going to get it all here. Mm-hmm. So it'd be nice for us to do that. So I think about Griff in that way. We also have some sponsors, Chris, that have contributed to making this show a reality. Tell us about our sponsors.
Yes, our sponsor, Glamour Dominican Salon, has generously supported our efforts here. They are a natural hair salon in Glen Arden, Maryland. That's 8000 Martin Luther King Jr. Highway, so not too far from here. You can go and check them out on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They have a special $15 off any blowout or washing set. So if that's your method of doing your hair, I highly, highly recommend them. They have some great things coming up. In fact, on this Friday, if you're looking to celebrate Mother's Day, they are having a curls and cocktails event where you can come out, do some wine tasting, do some beginner salsa dance lessons. So it's going to be a great evening. If you want to give them a call, it's 301-773-1357. You can get information about all of their services or how to register for their upcoming events.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Alexandra Morton.
Yes.
Chris, has been great once again.
Yes.
Look forward to more great programming. And for those of you out there in the viewing and listening audience, you can always go to Elife Media Group on YouTube and probably, the social media platforms, and you can have access to all of the great stuff that we got going on. So you all stay tuned for more great programming here on the Elife Media Network.
Take care, guys.
Stand up, fight back, no time for